Northern Uganda is on the verge of change. A population once displaced has returned to cultivate expanses of land left to fallow during the insurgency.
Yeah, I'm planting this garden actually because I'm a tobacco grower and I need to prepare it early enough so that I could get a better year. I've prepared about 3 gardens, of which I'm even plowing them as you can see. At the same time, meanwhile, we are also preparing the seedlings in the nursery beds so that by the end of March there, could do dry planting.
A unique opportunity exists for agriculture expansion both at subsistence and commercial level. With agriculture expansion, there is growing pressure on biodiversity and the delicate ecosystem that has existed in the region for centuries. BAT Biodiversity Partnership Project implemented by Tropical Biology Association, Nature Uganda, the Straight Talk Foundation and BAT Uganda is intended to conserve and restore biodiversity and ecosystem services in Apache, Oyam, Kole and Gulu districts in northern Uganda.
It benefits us in many ways. First of all, we get to mitigate the risks to the business because if the land is not fertile, if the land is degraded, then your crop is never going to do well. If the water is degraded, then you're never going to have fresh water to use. If your trees are all cut, then the curing of the crop cannot happen. So we depend heavily on the natural resources.
This model is to demonstrate the value of enhancing and restoring the environment, which is essential for sustainable agriculture that can benefit farming communities by improving their livelihoods and safeguarding their future.
Most of the people are living in that area depend on subsistence agriculture for their livelihoods, and thereby there is a increasing pressure on natural resources for agriculture. In order to make the agriculture sustainable, we realize that we need to address these issues and maintain and restore the ecosystem across the agricultural landscapes.
The project is working with farmers to enhance conservation awareness, develop models for biodiversity and ecosystem conservation, and build capacity of the stakeholders to implement these conservation practices. Using agriculture extension services, the project is training farmers on sustainable farming techniques which have a positive impact on conservation. Promoting healthy soils through building trenches and contours, mainly on farms located on slopes, is one of the ways the project is retaining soil fertility. Today, farmers in Techik village, Ngai sub-county in Oyam district have congregated at Martin Otim's farm to learn how to build trenches correctly under the guidance of the project extension staff.
Do buchanin pigenga lele molongo molo lobo ai ka yonge en alele kono mollo chanin wor joari bucha ai ka yonge temi yo kan me konung alelung mollo mo chemo ko terung joari bu.
John Egule, a resident of Bala sub-county in Kolet district, is one of the farmers putting into practice knowledge acquired on soil conservation. He has dug trenches on his farm, along which he has planted trees to control the runoff so as to preserve productivity of his soil. He sticks to a regular routine of cleaning off his trenches to ensure they serve this purpose.
My land is slopey, whereby when it rains, the water runs to the swamp, taking most of the topsoil. So when they came to us, they told us, you have wasted your land. Your land is soon becoming barren. And they advised us to make fences if we to benefit from the field we have. So I accept their idea and I started to make those holes.
Wetlands provide a clean and reliable source of water for the rural communities and serve as an important source of other raw materials for construction and crafts. Maintaining and restoring the integrity of wetlands is essential for sustainable agriculture, crucial for improved livelihoods for the rural communities.
This wetland is called Kole River, it comes from afar. So it goes and enters the River Nile, and off it goes up to there. So it is of importance. This soil area helps us very much. One, to keep our animals. It gives us water to feed the animals, and even ourselves, because there are water sources around here. And very many things. We also get some things to eat here, like fish.
The project trains farmers about the laws governing wetlands, as well as providing them information about the damage that may be caused by cultivating within the wetland. The process leads to development of wetland management plans in collaboration with the local government and the community.
We have worked together as a team, and as we talk now, we have a management plan for Kwale wetland system. They have already formed what we call a wetland management committee in some of these wetlands, especially like this one where we are standing. So from the management plan, we are going to have what we call a community wetland management plan, specifically for this area. And now that will guide the affairs of this area in terms of wetland management, which will be driven by this very committee. We are going to demarcate using trees, and it will be participatory. It will be the management committee along with the communities that are within this area. And after that, we shall ensure that as a district, we do proper monitoring to ensure that the demarcation aspect is being respected by the communities. So I want to thank the project for those two things, because this ordinarily would have been our sole role as a district. But they came in to complement us, and I want to thank them. They have done a good job, and this kind of partnership, in my view, should continue.
Part of ensuring that vital wetland waters stay fresh and healthy, the project regularly conducts water monitoring across the region through water testing. This is to ensure that agricultural practices comply with Uganda's legislation on water quality, which safeguards communities from water contamination as a result of agricultural activities.
We collect the water samples from the intensively cultivated areas of Adim, Aninolal, Globia, and that is the upstream. And then slightly downstream, we get water from Icheme, Ngai, and we also go to a pristine area that is in Lagude. That is where we have intact forests. Then we collect these water samples at that point, and we analyze part of them in the field, and we also bring part of the samples in the lab for analysis.
Agroforestry models start with developing tree nurseries to facilitate farmers to establish woodlots, such that communities restore degraded forests. A key area of focus here is to demonstrate the benefits of forests and trees on the ecosystem. Indigenous tree varieties, which have exceptional qualities in balancing soil fertility in agroforestry landscapes, together with fruit trees that will enhance nutrition, have been promoted and adopted by the community. The Straight Talk Foundation has been successful in integrating trees into agricultural landscapes using education, raising awareness and training communities. At Okutagwe Primary School in Apache District, caring for tree seedlings planted in the school compound is a fun extracurricular activity for the pupil. Pupils start learning at an early age to love and care for the environment by planting trees. Teachers incorporate practical lessons into weekly learning routines. Such lessons, often learned by heart, are easy to pass on to communities back home, thus ensuring further sustainability of the project. This is knowledge the project has tapped into to establish tree nurseries across the region. Abraham Odur is a nursery supervisor at Nomo Sub-County.
We start with the soil collection, and after soil collection we do pot filling. When we do pot filling, we now sow out our seeds to the pot. And also one of my work is to see that we get good seeds, and after sowing we keep on watering them. We water them and if it grows, we sort them out. The bad ones, we put them aside. Good ones, we get them ready, we harden them such that we get them ready for planting out.
Local ownership is very important for conservation success. Community meetings are the entry point for any intervention because sustainability is strongly hinged on the willingness of communities to own the effort. Restoration of degraded forest reserves in the region has therefore been a community endeavour. Boundaries are opened and demarcated, followed by replanting of trees with emphasis on indigenous species.
In this forest reserve, we had a series of meetings, sensitization meetings, to bring the community on board to understand what it is involved in forestry.
Kian mabe ma tika neno tika time makaro mashon chani. Ane kombeti yan matiano maketika piato gitie. Dak bene ka kwaro duga ngene fruit kimete kingo. Ke piato ne mayan tie pedak chale kar mo kara ngechi nge mwaka adeka ngwana ngechi. Mayano berika wang.
Mature natural trees are often cut down to generate wood fuel for a critical process of curing tobacco. The project is working to stop destruction of natural forests, an important element of biodiversity conservation. With the availability of free seedlings supplied under the project and training, farmers who have established woodlots proudly say they will save money and protect biodiversity as their trees reach maturity.
To use the one of yours is good, like because of one major reason. If you use the one of yours, it can make you earn more money because during that time when they are cutting the money that is for loan of the wood fuel, yours cannot appear.
The benefits of establishing woodlots, including those for indigenous trees, are varied, as Goldinho Obor, a farmer in Nomo sub-county, can confirm.
Well, tree planting is part of our life, of course. As you can see from my village here, my home here, you can see the homestead. I've got native trees plus this European type. They help me in very many ways. First of all, the air, the atmosphere in my home here is cool. Even if it is dry season, I don't feel all that bad. They also serve as, of course, firewood in the kitchen for cooking. My wife and my children, they don't go out for looking for firewood. They are just ready here at 10. And of course, trees bring a lot of money also to the family, as I have told you before.
Preserving natural vegetation and trees creates a natural habitat for critical biodiversity species like bees, which are the principal pollinators of fruit trees and several staple foods.
We look at bees as a key indicator species in biodiversity conservation. First of all, bees pollinate our crops, and crops are our source of food. Therefore, when we conserve bees, that means we are conserving even the plants.
The project has successfully distributed 220 hives to farmer groups. The Chok Chan beekeeping group is an example of promise of success the project can bring. The group received 15 hives. Of those, 13 beehives have already been colonized. As the beekeepers prepare for harvest, they're taken through key lessons on safety and handling of honey. Michael Odida is a member of another beekeeping group in Parwech, Gulu district.
Nature Uganda, they give us 20 beehives. 4 have not entered, 16 entered. We are best 16 beehives, which we get 6 kilograms. We sold at 10,000 per kilo, which we get 600,000. This is our first harvest. We wanted to buy more beehives, at least if we can reach 100 beehives, because as I see that place is good. When we harvest for 3 or 4 times, then we shall see how we continue with this money. We shall give up to our group. We have men and boys, young ones which are still, some are still at school. I think this money will help them. We shall give them and to go back to school.
The project came up with a mechanism for reducing consumption of firewood in order to safeguard trees. Working with the communities, they save firewood by building energy-saving cooking stoves, which require lace firewood. Members of the community, called energy service providers trained by the project, go house to house constructing energy-saving stoves.
So we use local material, dry grass and ant-hill soil. Huh? Now you measure, like the ratio is 2 to 1, 2 basin of ant-hill soil and 1 basin of what? Of dry grass. It depends on the size of the saucepan. If the saucepan is somewhat big like this, you can measure 20 basin of what? Ant-hill and 10 basin of dry grass. We are trained, huh? We are about 4 in a group. Huh? Now we decided to work together.
Firewood, you cannot go far for collecting firewood. You cannot use saving your money because it takes a lot of money to get the firewood. You use small and helping has no smoke in the kitchen.
Margaret O'Rourke is a beneficiary of this newly constructed energy-saving stove. The project is bringing irreversible change to the community. Abraham Odu already has long-term plans as a tree seedling provider.
I have learned a lot. I know now the community I've grown interest in planting trees. So I have a feeling after this, if I can gain some capital, after the project I can go on and I start my private nurseries where I can start making money. I've learned, like for example, these days, people have grown so much interest in most seedlings, even the indigenous ones.
When we started, nobody wanted to spare land for growing trees. Now we are overwhelmed. We would go compelling people plant trees, especially the resented indigenous trees. People never wanted, but now people want. When we started, 70% of our nurseries had exotic trees. Because we wanted to have this kind of participation, we went to people asking, which seedlings do you want? And then they would mention pine, they would mention eucalyptus. And so we raised the pine and eucalyptus in the beginning. But as a team, we sat back and said, what do we want? We want ecosystem service restoration, and therefore we should be doing indigenous trade. But today, we have reversed this ratio in the nursery from 30 indigenous, 70 exotic. Now we have 70 indigenous, 30 exotic.
All partners have worked in synergy with each other to ensure that the project objectives are met. And most importantly, I think what has really enhanced the project to achieve the current results is that we each brought our unique expertise into the collaboration and also ensured that we complemented each other's efforts on the ground in the districts where the projects have worked. Communities have played a key role in particularly opening their doors to us, being open to share, receiving the knowledge and skills we have empowered with them. And as we conclude the project, we see that we have left a community of champions who continue to promote the vision of the three of the partners, BAT and Tropical Biology Association, Straight Talk and Nature Uganda.
First of all, the local communities have now realized that it is upon them, it is their responsibility to protect their landscape. For me, that is big, because you are not going to be there all the time. We have also worked with local governments. They are the people on the ground. They are the people that support, supervise government programs on the ground. And we worked with them. The management plans that I've been talking about, they were done together with the local governments. They launched them themselves, and they agreed they will implement them themselves, because they know it is very important. We worked with government agencies like National Forest Authority to open the boundaries, replant and regenerate forest reserves.
Farmers and rural communities are beginning to demonstrate an improved understanding of the need to value forests and wetlands because they underpin the health of sustainable agricultural landscapes. The initiatives they're developing will help improve and diversify their incomes, thus supporting rural livelihoods. By bringing together a range of stakeholders through forums, training and awareness raising to better understand and develop positive solutions, the region is beginning to experience positive outcomes that will benefit a range of stakeholders in the future. The project partners are keen to see that these practices are developed further and replicated in other parts of Uganda to ensure the longer-term future for sustainable agriculture in the region.